Can you tell me one thing in the universe that did not first start with a thought? I believe that we live in a world that's been designed and is supporting us. Ever given a dream that we can't make come true? Because people throughout history continue, and to this day are continuing to do it. Decide today, what's your one goal that would have the biggest impact on every area of your life?
Welcome to the Leadership and Love podcast. We will cover leadership, mindset, personal development, and sales and marketing. You will experience thought-provoking conversations with both nationally and internationally recognized leaders. Our goal is to inspire you and deliver actionable items that you can implement that are going to help you accelerate your growth. Get ready to discover the magic and the power when you lead with love.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Leadership and Love, the podcast that helps you love, lead, and love. This month, what I want to talk about on my solo episode is something that gets a lot of attention, and that's goals. I really want to challenge you today when you think about your goals, when you do something with your goals. So first thing I want you to think about is something that I say on a regular basis when I'm out speaking, coaching, consulting. Can you tell me one thing in the universe that did not first start with a thought? And the answer is you can't. Everything started as a thought in somebody's mind. So with that being said, somebody thought it was a better idea to invent a chair than to sit on the ground. Somebody then thought it was a better idea to create a table so you didn't have to hold your food in your lap. At some point, somebody came up with the wheel, the cart, the whole shebang. And one of the things I love to tell people, even if it was just your parents' idea of having a good time in the backseat of a car, you started as a thought. Somebody had the thought. Cars, planes, boats, clothes, phones. I mean, that list is endless. Everything that's in the physical world. Now, let's move to the next piece of this. I have a belief. I believe it's the truth. And so I want to share my belief with you. I believe that we live in a world that's been designed and is supporting us. And I mean that on a number of levels. But here's one of the things that I want to be really clear on. I don't believe whoever it is, God, source, universe, Allah, Buddha, Yahweh, I don't care what you call it. I don't believe that we would be given a dream or a goal that we couldn't make come true. That would be hell. And when you think back through time, through some of the great inventors, some of the great creators, they dreamt about things that everybody else thought they were crazy. Start with Columbus. Columbus thought that the world was round. At his time, a bunch of people thought he was crazy. They believed the world was flat and that he was about to sail off the end of it. There was a time when Abraham Lincoln knew that it wasn't right for a human to own another human. And so at that point, he went through the Civil War so that people could be free. When you think about John F. Kennedy saying we're going to put a man on the moon, a bunch of people thought he was crazy. A bunch of people wanted to know why. But there's a whole lot of cool things that we have in our lives today. Tyvek being one of the things they wrap houses with that's better insulation than anything else, came from the space program. So these people, Mother Teresa, Eleanor Roosevelt, women were doing it just as many amazing things and creating things. Amelia Earhart, right? There's women, men throughout history. They dreamt of things and they had these goals that the rest of the world thought was crazy, but all of them accomplished them. All of them accomplished what they set out to do. So that's proof that we won't be ever given a dream that we can't make come true, because people throughout history continue, and to this day are continuing to do it. So if that's the case, for your goals, what can you do to dream bigger? And I mean bigger. I just have gone through 2 books. One of them is the TEDx Rule by Grant Cardone. Highly recommend that one. And the other one is 10x is easier than 2x. And I apologize because I don't remember the author of that book. But my point is they both talk about the same thing. If you want to run a mile, why not set it at 10? If you want $1 million, why not set it at $10 million? And this may sound crazy to some of you, but here's a concept that I believed in for a long time, and I've taken these 2 books to heart, and I've ramped up a couple of my goals in really, really big ways. And part of the point to this, and I first learned this concept from Jack Canfield. If you set a goal and you aim for the top of the mountain and you miss, you're still in the dirt. If you set a goal for the moon and you miss, you're in the stars. So if you set that goal to go from having $1 million in sales to $10 million in sales, if you miss that $10 million goal and you're even at 30%, then your sales are at $3 million, not $1 million. Now, the next thing I want to talk about with goals is the power of how we learn. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, we learn 3 ways. We learn by seeing something, we learn by hearing something, or we learn by physically doing something kinesthetically with our muscles, our body. So an exercise that I learned from Brian Tracy, love that dude, that's very powerful is every day, and I do this in the morning and in the evening as well. I do it in the morning when I first get up, and I do it in the evening before I go to bed. I write my goals. And I would invite you to write your goals in starting with I allow myself to be, I allow myself to have, I allow myself to do. Allow yourself. That gives your brain permission to go make it happen, to do it. But writing your goals, when you write anything, this is why note-taking, I think, is still so valuable. Note-taking, writing something on a piece of paper versus even typing it into a computer. When you write it, you're physically saying the words with a pen, with your muscles. You're seeing it because you're seeing what you're writing. And your brain is saying it. So you're hearing it, you're seeing it, and you're doing it every time you write something. So when you want to really enforce something, really get your brain to think that thought, to focus on that thought, write it on a regular basis. And I mean regular, at least once a day, every day. This is going to start to get you focused on things. It's going to also activate a thing called your RTS. Your RTS is your Reticular Activating System. And it lives at the base of your brain. And so when you start focusing on your goals and writing them, then things are going to appear in your universe that were there all along, but that you weren't paying attention to. So what you want to do is write your goals on a regular basis. Dream big. And then just ask yourself, what's one thing? What's the simplest or the most outrageous thing I can do towards your number one goal? Decide today, what's your one goal that would have the biggest impact on every area of your life? It might be a health goal. It might be a relationship goal. It might be a career goal. It might be a money goal. It might be a spiritual goal. But what's the one goal that if you accomplish that one goal, that everything in your life would change? And then my challenge to you is ask yourself every morning, what's one simple thing or the most outrageous thing I can do today to accomplish that goal? Just the one thing. What's the simplest, smallest step I could take, or what's the biggest, most outrageous step I could take today to accomplish that goal? One of the things I do when I do business consulting is I share with my clients on their sales and marketing to do what I call the daily 5s. You do 5 things every day for sales and marketing. What I want you to understand is that, and I share the story of a Sedona redwood tree, right? Some of those things are 15, 20, 30 feet wide. And if I gave you an axe and told you to chop that tree down, if you took 5 swings at it every day, at some point that tree's coming down. Your sales and marketing are going to go up. It's not a question of if, it's just a matter of when you're taking 5 swings at that tree every day. So think about your goals. Start writing them down if you're not. Get really clear. Now, also, when you write a goal, you want to be in the positive, not the negative. You want to write it as if it's already happened, not out in the future, that you have the relationship now, that you're spiritual now, that you're peaceful, that you have the money, that you have the sales goal, the car, whatever it might be, that you have those things. Write it in the present tense. And then you also want to be very clear to write one goal about one thing. So you don't want to mix a bunch of goals together. So for example, in one of my companies, I've got a goal for net profit for that company, and I've got a separate goal for what I want total sales to be for that company. So when you do things with your goals, you want to be very clear and specific, precise, and you can use a deadline if you'd like, or you could do it without a deadline. Again, there's different fields of thought on that, and I'm fine either way. But be very specific on that one goal. Just one goal per written sentence. So, and you should be able to say that goal and repeat it to yourself on a regular basis. So again, the big piece I want to stress is sit down with one of your goals and look at 10xing it. What would it be to spend 10 more hours, or 10 more, maybe it's not even hours, 10 times more quality time with your wife or your children or your husband? What would it be to take your sales from, like I said, 1 million to 10 million? Because if you miss on that higher mark, like I said, you're still way above that 1 million mark, that original 10% of the 100% that you're adding by going from 1 million to 10 million. So that's my advice on goals. And one of the things, again, every day. So these are some simple actions and some simple things you can do to start really turning your results around your goals into reality. So I'm going to ask you, like I always do on our podcast, what's one thing that you can do today to take action from something that you've learned? It might be writing your goals. It might be 10xing a goal. It might be being clear on separating goals. It might be figuring out what's the one goal that's going to move the needle the fastest, the furthest. It's one of my favorite things to think about. If I did one thing today, what's going to move me forward the fastest, the furthest? And so take action today, and let's go make those goals happen. I know you can do it because history's given us all these people that have dreamed things way bigger than we've dreamt. Actually, I want to PS this podcast as well. For the majority of us, whatever your goal is, somebody has already accomplished it. Unless you're a real trailblazer, somebody's already figured out how to grow sales, how to convert more leads, how to become wealthier, how to invest money, how to have better relationships, how to improve your health, how to exercise more effectively and efficiently. Whatever, the majority of us, whatever we're dreaming about, and again, I don't believe that we would be given a dream or a goal that we couldn't make come true. And so whatever we're dreaming about, we've got to realize that for the majority of the time, somebody's already done it. This is one of the reasons why leaders are readers, right? Whatever your goal is, go buy a book, go listen to a podcast, go listen to an audio book, go to a seminar, go to a workshop, hire a coach, wink, wink, nod, nod. But at that point, somebody's already figured out how to do it, and you can do it too. So good luck, have fun with this, and again, dream big, because I know you can do it.
Thanks again for joining us and listening to this episode of Leadership and Love. I would like to challenge you to ask yourself, what's one thing that you heard today that you can implement immediately to improve your leadership and accelerate your growth? If you've gotten value out of this episode or learned something that you can implement today, we'd ask that you please share it with those that you care about. Our goal is to create more leaders who are leading with love.